Oh, by the way, I didn't, man. We're live now, but nobody's on just yet. So, I think I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you saw the video DNA did about spaces,
I didn't watch it. I
being.
just seen the title.
So I want to get into that. I want to talk about URLs outside for. I want to talk about the trenches. Did you get a chance to watch any of the battles on the trenches?
No, I watched Easy's first 6 minutes of his round, and I was like, bro, this is terrible. He starts rapping at the 30-second mark, at the 6:16 mark. I'm like, bro, there's been one bar that was worth like. I don't care that we're live either. I'm just saying, like, I'm literally, I don't get twisted. I'm hoping, and I've heard that he gets better throughout the battle. His second round's
He
really
does.
good. His third, whatever.
He does.
The dude had one punchline in the first, and then like single syllable rhymes the whole time. It's seal, deal, kill, feel, chill. Like the whole opener is all just, and then seal the deal. Then he comes back and says another deal. Then he says, like, and I'm just like, bro, some people can just get away with that because of their style and stuff. But dog, I wish I could go in there and just write some one syllable, lines or whatever. And oh well, you know what? Like I said, I'm gonna get a bit of the doubt and watch the rest of the battle, second and third. Like, I've heard good things, but the like in that first 6 minutes of real time, the syrup on top of the ice like a snow cone was like my favorite line. Like the only thing that really I was like, okay,
And we're going to call this A Ward rips easy to block captain over his latest battle.
Over the first part of his first round. Yes. And I would tell him that too. I'm gonna watch the rest of it and give him the benefit of doubt. And I'll say if it's nice, but I'm just like, yo.
All right. Yo, so since we already talking, we're not gonna get into the intros. We just gonna get straight into it. It's a black and white thing. I'm A1, he's A Ward. You can check us out wherever you get the good podcast. We're live on YouTube at Brains and Bars. We jumping straight into this, man.
Like we're not gonna do any intros. He said, hey,
no intros, intro. No ballot to my
intro,
left, no ballot to my right. We caught the coin out the air. I said, hey, yo. We jumping right into it. So, what's up, Mama Ward?
YTG, Day Horseman, Crew 72, whatever we decide to go with.
Crew 72. I was like, wait, are you gonna say? Hey. Shout out to Bay too.
Yes.
So we're gonna start with battle rap anyway. We start with battle rap, and then we're gonna get into the NBA playoffs, which have been amazing. Since I have watched all the trenches battles, I will talk about the trenches event. Pray for my enemies. We're just gonna get right into that. I thought it was a dope event. Obviously, we know all of the outside noise. We're not here to talk about that. Y'all got enough spaces and blogs and everything else to cover all the outside noise. Dope event overall, good battles. I think that I'm going to steal from Let's Talk Battle Rap. Let's Talk Battle Rap had their review of the event, which you can go, if you go follow them on Twitter, which I believe their Twitter is at LTBR Podcast. If you go check out at LTBR Podcast, they have a write-up over the Trenches event. Go check them out, follow them on Twitter, and listen and go read what they wrote. I'm going to steal for them. They normally have at the end of the year, they do their first team, all battle rap. And so I'm going to do my first team, Pray for My Enemies, Trenches. I think starting from 5 to 1, I think at number 5, I got I have Rosenberg Raw. I think Rosenberg Raw versus Truffaut was a dope battle. Really good content in that battle. Nice back and forth. Obviously, you had a little bit of an incident that we will not discuss that kind of interrupted the flow of that battle. But I think Truffaut and Rosenberg, good back and forth. So I have him as number 5 on my list in terms of the all top 5. Coming in at number 4. Now I got to look at, I had this list in my head and now I can't remember who number 4 is. I know who 3, 2, and 1 is. Oh, number 4 is Tex Sago. Him versus Snake Eyes. A really good Snake Eyes performance, by the way. I checked a little bit of his back and forth with T-Rex. He talked about himself as a gatekeeper in particular for the newer artists. And to be honest, I understand he also says, look, I want the A-Wards. He mentioned you by name. He says, I want the A-Wards. I want some of these bigger names in the culture. Like, I give tons of shots. And so this was a performance that you could say warranted potentially getting some more notable names. Not that But on the humble, like Snake Eyes' resume is kind of like low key nice when you go think of some of the people that he's battled and went up against.
I've always said that. Yeah.
But I thought it was a really good Snake Eyes performance. I thought Snake Eyes got the first. I thought that Tex got the second and the third. It's debatable. Tex, I hit him up on Twitter. He got some nice sports bars too. He has some really nice sports bars in his material. I'm not saying he's coming for your crown, but you know what I'm saying? For my first time being introduced and watching Tex live, this is my first time watching all the young Trenches guys. I've never really had a chance to watch, or when I had the pay-per-view, I might have missed their battles. It was a really good performance from Tex. I really enjoyed it. I had him 2-1 winning that battle. At number 3, Dre Majesty. Again, another Trench, one of the new guys in the trenches. My first time watching him versus Prezi. I thought he showed levels in every round. Really good performance. He called out Loso. I felt like Loso should have saved his response if they actually ever battled, because I thought the response was super fire. But a really, really dope performance from him. Really enjoyed watching him for the first time on the go back, because I did miss his battle live. At number 2 is Easy the Block Captain. And so I know, shout out to LTBR, because LTBR had him at number 1 in terms of top performance for the night. I have him at number 2. I think the reason a lot of people might have him as the MVP of the event is, one, it's a grudge match, right? Him and Swamp was a grudge match, and it is hard for grudge matches to live up to the hype. And for 2.5 rounds, I think they did their thing. I thought Swamp got the first round clear. I thought that Easy got the second, and I thought the third was a good, maybe not as good as his second, but it was on par with his second. If Swamp gets through his material without choking, you might have a debatable on your hands, right? But Swamp chokes, has to run his material all the way back to the beginning of the round. He gets through it thin, clean. But at that point, you lost the round. And I do have a question about that we're going to revisit here in just a second. But again, grudge match, it's his league, his event. So he's got to make sure things are running smoothly, people are where they're supposed to be. Then he goes transition from league owner to battler, and he got through his rounds. No slip-ups. Again, I have some qualms with some of the material too. I put it in the group chat, one particular line where I was just like, I don't think that line doesn't make sense to me.
Which one was it? There was one that made absolutely no sense. I saw. He said, I'm like the ruler when you're mounting a TV. I'm showing you its levels. Bro, you don't mount a TV with a ruler. You mount it with a level.
Leveler. And
the level is not a ruler. It's like.
Yeah. So he had I'm going to butcher the bar, but he was, he talked about, I think, how he got Swamp, like he was the one who booked Swamp for the battle, and it was like some about Verb and who's the pro now.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that. But I mean, pro, I only didn't like it because it's just been pro now with Verb has been used 1,000 times. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I guess
I'm not mad at now being now. I'm not mad at now being now communicated. It's just like, yo, like there wasn't an extra layer to it. Really, to me, like maybe it was a little more angled than what I thought. I mean, but you know, him just saying he got Verb on the card, who's the pro now or whatever. Like I was kind of like, yeah. But yeah.
Well, I guess, and maybe there is something I'm missing, and maybe if he explains it, if you know, maybe it'll make more sense. But I'm like, well, pronoun is one thing, verb is another thing. Yeah. Like, how do those two connect?
He's like connect for me. Two line scheme or two, you know, like he's like trying to. Yeah, that's what I was just like. There was nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, he's still number 2 on my list because I do think he got better. His second was his best round. His third was really good. He wins 2-1 over Swamp, and then number 1 for me is King versus
Danny Myers.
Thank you, Danny Myers. I had Dre Dennis on the brain for some reason. King versus Danny Myers, battle of the night to me. Best back and forth on the card. I thought King's third was super fire. He had the line about cargo pockets, cargo pants, cargo jeans. I got pockets I hadn't even tapped into yet. Like he had some really dope. Like he came at Danny with a dope parallel universe bar about his career. I thought it was really well done. Really dope back and forth. Danny in his first round. Should I slash his YN? Yes or no? Again, like really good back and forth, really good playback. My first time again watching him as well. And I reached out to him again on Twitter to say, yo, I thank you for what you did. I enjoyed it. And then he sent to me, him versus Jay Moore, him versus Cortez. I think Muwap. He sent me like 3 battles to check out, and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I went and listened to a little bit of his interview with 3 Letterman. Shout out to 3 Letterman. I appreciate the job he does as an interviewer. And he talked. His first question to him was like, "Yo, how does it feel that every time you're on one of these cars, you're a battle of the night?" And so, apparently the young man's been doing his numbers, and I have been sleeping, and I need to step up and watch more of his content. So he was the MVP for me from the Trenches event. He was my number 1. So that's my top 5: King, Easy, Dre Majesty, Tex, and Rosenberg. If I had to go 6th man or 6th woman, I might go Bonnie. I had Bonnie beating Coffee 2-1 in that battle. I know people thought her 3rd was a little bit short. I prefer her 3rd a little bit more than Coffee's. Decent back and forth from the ladies, though, and a decent showing. So shout out to Hood straight from the trap. I have not listened to Cassidy's diss record. I don't know if you listen to Cassidy's diss record.
Is it the one to Kid Slade, I'm guessing?
With all the rats. I think it might be all the people he considers rats, Clone, Bad News, Kid Slade.
Oh, he mentioned all of them, huh?
I think so. I can Google it real quick, but I feel like
that's kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still such a Cassidy fan, like from just like high school. It's like I just almost want to diss him just so he'll put a diss track out about me so that I can be like, yo, I haven't Cassidy dissed me. Like, like that exists. Like, that's
so
fire. I mean,
Snitches Get Stitches. Snitches Get Stitches is the name of the record. And based on this quick little snippet I'm seeing, Kid Slade, Clone, Bad News, and Adi Boom. I'm not sure why going to Adi Boom. Adi Boom has not been active in quite some time, but hey, do what you do, young man. So I have not listened to it. And I feel like Cassidy actually isn't bad on a beat either. Like he still does.
I love Cassidy. I mean, I don't know what he's probably still doing the same style as what he did. But I mean, when I was, like I said, high school and college, like, man, past what? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like his diss to Easy was actually pretty good. Yeah. But anyway, yo, if you haven't had a chance to go check out the pay-per-view, man, don't take my word for it. Shout out to LTBR. Go read what they wrote at LTBR Podcast on Twitter. Don't just take their word for it. Go to guttercity.com, get the pay-per-view, check out the event. Tell me who you thought was the MVP for the night. Who were your top 5 battlers from that card? All right, man, let's keep it moving. So one thing I do want to revisit off this particular card, though. So I mentioned that Swamp choked in the 3rd round against Easy. Again, he ran it back from the beginning. He was able to get through the rest of the material clean. One thing I have seen people do online a little bit more often. So I've seen people say, well, this person choked, but they got it back and their material was better than their opponents. Therefore, they got the round, right? When I came into battle rap, I don't have a battle rap lifespan. Shout out to T-Rex. When I came into battle rap, my understanding was you choke, that's an auto L for the round. Unless both of y'all choke, and then I guess we got to try some things we got to figure out, right? Have we reached a point in battle rap where we need to rethink that choking loses you the round automatically?
I mean, I don't think so, but I mean, the fact is this is like, we're just getting softer and softer. Like, the era of battle rap is getting just more lenient, more whatever, you know what I mean? And, then what? Then in 5 years, then we're editing everything out. Then we're just, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like the reason why for me, when you choke, you lose a round is because when battle rap started, if you stumbled or choked, like you were cut off, your opponent started rapping then, you know what I mean? Like you didn't get a chance to get it back. So now we've evolved into, we're going to give you a chance to get it back, right? However, you still lose the round, but we want to hear these bars, The thing about it is this, it's like most of the time you lose the round because the loss of momentum, like it's like the loss of it sucks the wind out of everything you're saying now, So It's not hitting as hard, So very rarely does somebody choke, get it back, figure it out, and deliver the round and still win that round because we're kind of like, we're good on you, So if you want to try to go back and say, we're still going to judge this round, boom or boom, like that's fine. But I'm like, you lost a whole lot. It's like, it's almost like a knockdown, right? In boxing, it's like It's like you're losing, you know, a 10-7 round or something like that. It's like, okay, but you know, so I just think that like if you choke, you know, and there's a fine line with everybody. Well, what's a choke? You know, is it you know a few seconds? Is it this? Is it that? You know what I mean? Like I think most people knows if you choked or not. You know, I haven't seen the clip of him choking, but I assume he forgot his lines, had to drink his water, came around, turned around, and went back, started around all over again so he could get to the point. You know what I mean? That's a choke. You know, so I don't think we need to be lenient on like, well, let him get it back, you know, and then let's judge it from no. You choke, you lose the round.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Again, like I said, I've just seen enough people. I've seen more than a few times where someone says, they choked, but they got it back. And I prefer that material more. So therefore they win the round. And, you know, culture progresses. Culture.
Now, the accountability or is that like, yo, like hold the other battler accountable. Be like, yo, you won that round, but you're lucky he choked. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't it. He was gonna smoke you. You know, like use that, drive that narrative, and be like, yeah, you got it. You know what I mean? But you know, like bar for bar, he was gonna beat you. Like you know, like so. If you want to take anything away from that battler or kind of give him like a moral victory or whatever in that, you can say that. But if we're looking at you know the idea of you know who won or lost, whatever, like you choke, you lose a round. But my bad, I interrupted you. Keep going. You were talking
No,
about
yeah. No, you're good. No, I just think, like I said, I think culture, obviously over time, culture, and not when I say culture, I'm speaking more from a societal standpoint, right? The things that the societal norms and standards that we had at one point, we reflect on them. We say, well, maybe that isn't right. And we change the standard. And so I just want to hear from your standpoint. Do you feel like that standard is something that maybe doesn't need to be changed, but maybe needs to be reviewed? And so I feel like the constructive criticism of saying, hey, had you not choked, you would have won that round, right? To try to tell a person you need to make sure you lock in, make sure you're more solid in your material and in your memorization, right? It's something that a battle rapper would need to hear, right? Because again, while there isn't a win-loss on your record, like if you are someone who ends up with a repeated pattern of choking, that becomes a part of your narrative, right? That becomes a part of your storyline. And we've seen that attached to battlers over time who don't show up prepared, who don't have their material together. Even the ones, and we won't name no names, even the ones who you can tell are kind of just making it up as they go along, because they don't have anything written and they're just trying to get through. And for those who are guessing, that is not a clip shot, by the way. It's not a shot at Charlie Clips. Although he is one of those people who you, the listener, might have had in mind. I did not in that moment. People just kind of get up there and they wing it. And somehow they're able to string together a minute and a half, which is kind of impressive, by the way. They're able to string together a minute or so, a minute and a half worth of material to get through their round until they can get to their next round where they actually have some writtens that they memorize. So yeah, man. So y'all let us know what y'all think, man. How y'all feel about choking in battle rap? Is that something that we need to maybe revise the standard? Is the standard you choke, you lose the round, or if you can get it back, then it doesn't matter? Or maybe you deduct points, but maybe your round might be so strong that it is still, better than what your opponent did. So let us know what y'all think. Hit us up at Brains and Bars. I have no idea to this question, Mama Ward, but shout out to Jay, that guy. Shout out to the platform. And maybe they dropped it by mistake and they weren't ready to release it yet. And
yeah, they man, public disclaimer. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell. Let me set the public disclaimer to battle rap leagues. You do not owe me to tell me when you're gonna drop my battle, right? You don't owe that to me necessarily. However, it works out a lot easier for promo purposes and for everything. If you hit me up and say, yo, next Thursday, we're dropping you versus whatever. You know what I mean? Or we're dropping you versus, you know what I mean? And so, man, the City Towers battle drops out of nowhere. The Swave 7 battle came out it came out, in a good amount of time or whatever. The guy Yogi battle, I haven't got no clue. You know what I mean? A couple battles from that event already dropped, I think. And it's just like, yo, hit me up. Like, I'll clip some stuff down. I'll make my post, get ready to make my post accordingly and stuff like that. So, but if it did drop, cool. I haven't been told it was dropping. Maybe like they once said, maybe by accident it dropped. I I just saw Yogi's round versus he battled Ratchet Rico in Alaska. And I heard him, and so he in his round he said he told Ratchet Rico, he's like, you got smoked by A Ward in a 1-rounder. I just 30'd A Ward in 3 rounds.
Well, I mean, I was there. Yeah,
you know what?
Maybe
I was thinking this week.
What's that?
I'm like, you know what? One of the best asks, like when people say, like, "Yo, Ward, what do I have to be to like be like booked and up there and top, like top or whatever?" And just, I think delusion is one of the best things you can do. Like that's serious. If people know how to be or just delusional, like there are guys, and like we give Snake Eyes a hard time, but Snake Eyes a lot of times is just delusional. You know what I mean? Like Yogi, delusional. Like thinks he beat Hansel after saying water. Like you just have to be like, and that's an asset. That's an asset, a skill set. Because I can't do it. I can't.
So I will say this before we pivot to the next subject. You could use a little bit of delusion sometimes. I do think sometimes you are a little bit too nice about the outcome of a battle. You could use a little selfishness and sprinkle in a little half truth, a little delusion, and be like, no, I won that battle, right? Like I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to say you smoked somebody that you might have clearly lost to, because I would have to call you and be like, hey, bro, come on now. You can't be on 15 minutes of fame or with 3 talking about you smoked somebody when we all got eyes and ears and saw what happened. But a little delusion, a little truth stretching wouldn't be the worst thing. It is promotion. It's self-promotion. I'm pretty sure my wife is going to check me about basically encouraging you to lie there, but it is what it is. Shout out to Hood straight from the trap. If you choke, you got to work on your freestyle skills. I mean, yeah, you do. Shout out to JC in the building as well. So let's get into this next subject, man, because this is something that I do want to discuss. That was a fallout from the incident that occurred at the trenches that happened after the event. Started during the event, went after the event, and it was Spaces, right? Speaking of delusion, because a lot of delusional statements happen in Spaces on Twitter, and so DNA was on Uncle Rob. By the way, quick side note: O-Solo versus Gwitty is out on the platform, and T-Rex versus J That Guy is out on the platform, but I do not see A Ward versus the guy Yogi. So at some point it will drop, but that's just a programming update. Now back to the topic at hand. DNA was on with on 15 Minutes of Fame, shout out with Uncle Ra, and he had this statement that he made regarding Spaces and battle raps. Let me share my screen. Share screen, and we want this one and share.
The superstars in battle rap are giving too much access to their self on the Spaces. And no disrespect to the Spaces. I think the Spaces was dope. Oh, I thought it was a good concept. No, I just think okay.
No.
All right.
It's not a good idea. That's why I said exactly what I said about I'm here to tell you, right? Shout out to all the supporters and fans, whether you like me or not. And you get right under it, you don't like me.
Right.
Y'all not qualified to have a conversation with me about battle rap because, nigga, you don't know battle rap the way I know battle rap. So why the fuck would I be arguing with you on camera? Why would I be arguing about you in a space? Because you're not coming from a subjective place, or you talking about something that you're qualified in. Why the fuck would I be going to the Mercedes dealership? Because unless I'm somebody that really knows about cars and I got different type of qualifications to make me be able to think I could tell the guy that's been selling cars for 20 years more about cars. You know what they're going to tell you at Mercedes? Get the fuck out of here, homie. This is my car. I'm ready to sell cars to somebody that wants to listen to the shit that I know about. Battle rappers get so happy that people are, that's what I mean. You're not a superstar if you're in awe because somebody wants to talk about you. So now you're going to go in Spaces and you're going to talk to Joe Smo all day and he's going to tell you this. And now Joe Smo is your friend. And now you and Joe Smo no, bro. You're not qualified. No.
I'm gonna stop it there. I mean, you get the point. So So your thoughts on space? Let's just start there, right? With DNA's his thoughts on spaces. When you hear him say that, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I've never liked spaces. I've never really liked that. I see, especially like just getting there and just talking or whatever. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like the battles and stuff, I'm not mad at space battles. You know, like back in the day, there was group, or what do they call it? Where they're type text battles. You know, they'd be in like the chat rooms and text battling and stuff like that. You know, it's just, there's a form of like showing your creativity, just a different form or whatever. But yeah, I've never been a fan of those spaces. I think he's right in his, battlers, artists, performers, regardless, right? You crave the validation and the dopamine hit of people talking about you. You know what I mean? There's a reason why, sometimes I go read the comments on battles I won. You know what I mean? I want to feel good about myself. I'm saying it's probably a flaw, but I mean, I'll be honest and say, like I like to feel good about myself. I like to, post something, on Instagram and people be like, oh, fire, so what happens is in these spaces, you get guys that, shouldn't be as accessible in there, and they get a whole bunch of people to want to listen to them talk and want to, praise them and do different things or whatever. And then they intentionally or unintentionally, are co-signing and allowing people to be speakers and allowing people to have a voice and different things like that. And it just, yeah, I agree with what he's saying. It's like you're almost, like gifting, fans the ability to come in and be somebody when it comes to like pushing narratives or saying who won battles and different things like that, in his thing, he's talking about going to the dealership and everything, but it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like there are fans that do know cars very well, so there are those guys, and that's where you got to vet out, like you got to vet those out and say, okay, you know what, there are 10, 12, 15 of these fans that know this, that can cover it accordingly, and that should have, some kind of voice. But yeah, man, it's a cool table, it's that's what it is, it's the cool table in high school is what everybody wants to go in and be a part of. Everybody wants to be, and I mean, what happened this weekend happened a lot because of that, and so that's why you got to be smart. We've seen instances like the Greedy Gotti instance, we've seen instances now like with the boss. You start giving some people a little bit of leeway to be something, to do something, you know what I mean? They start feeling themselves a little too much, and here's the thing, bro. As a battle rapper, if me and DNA, are going back and forth or whatever, and we talking crazy to each other, you lost, you got smoked or whatever, like I can walk up to him and say, check ball. I can walk up to him and say, let's battle. You know what I mean? That's the end result is there. If a media person or whatever here is talking crazy to me, there's no like, let's battle. You're not a battler. You're just talking crazy. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, now you either get out of my face or something physical is going to happen because I don't like you. You know what I mean? And so that's what's tough about, letting these people get in here and all of a sudden be somebody like that and think that they can talk any kind of way. I've always said this on every podcast, your rounds and your battles are like your kids, man. We put a lot of work into these things, like we allow people to get out here and we're vulnerable. We allow people to judge them or whatever. We start talking too crazy, like, and then, for some reason, somebody's giving you a platform or a voice to carry in the culture too. Like, yeah, but I'm definitely never been a fan of the spaces. I don't get in there very rarely. I've probably been in the spaces like outside of like listening to my nephew battle, like maybe I've been into like 5 times total ever, it's just not for me. And I don't know any of those people. I like it because I don't know any of them when I see them out and about. When I'm at events, I'm not like, oh, like I had to be told that the Tati was worked with the league that I battled in Chicago when I battled True Foe. You know, I didn't know who she was. Yeah, I didn't know who she was. I knew I've seen her in spaces a lot of times, you know, whatever. But I would have never known that, you know, because I just don't be in there, and I like it better that way because, you know, I'm not one of those kind of persons that's going to go in there and you know, get the beehive or get the whatever they call them, you know, like you get your little cult following or whatever, you know, the BF the Chicks for Ward, you know, I don't know if you remember that one. You know, like, I'm not gonna
I do remember that. I'm
not gonna go in there and do that, you know, like and so yeah, it's just kind of weird.
So you would agree then with DNA's statement about it being too accessible, right? Other artists being too accessible to the fans by getting into the space.
Yeah, I think that, but I mean, it's also hard not to be accessible. You know what I mean? Like this isn't a very big sport. You know what I mean? We're not. This isn't basketball, baseball, football. You know what I mean? Like it's not even UFC. You know, and I'm sure there's some UFC fighters that get online and talk back and forth with with the fans and stuff like that. You know, I'm not in those circles or whatever. So, yes, I mean, you know, so it's hard not to be accessible when you're still trying to, you know, put together, you know, good battles. Yeah, the Wardians. That's what it was. Probably got the autos, the spell check, or the But yeah, it's hard not to like want to engage because leagues look at that like, hey, people like you. They want to see. You know, I had a league hit me up this week, and they're just like, listen, we love the movement that's involved around when a ward battle is announced. The talking, you know, everybody talking about it. You know, I mean, and then part of that is just cultivating back and forth. You know, but yeah, definitely too accessible. But everything's so oversaturated now. We're battling all the time. We're talking all the time. You see us all the time. You hear our voices all the time. You know, like, and you know, I had plenty of people like tell me like when Twerk didn't show up, they were like, bro, he was in spaces literally 10 days before I was supposed to battle, and he was like, man, I got Vixen and Ward like, you know, back to back. He's like, I might have to break a leg or something. Like they said, he said that, you know, like. You know, jokingly, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yo, you're offering things to people every day. Your voice, you know, over and over, and it's just like, yo, like, yeah, I'm cool on it. Now, battle rap though, wise, I'm not mad at using spaces for battles.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll say this. I think that I want to use Kevin Durant because I really do enjoy when Kevin Durant, he doesn't do it all the time. But when he chooses to interact, now granted, he's not in a space, right? I'm just saying of the accessibility of Kevin Durant. When he hops on Twitter and decides, I got time today, and he starts going back and forth with fans, I appreciate his willingness to engage fans and it's not always the trolls, right? Sometimes he engages the trolls. Sometimes you engage the trolls. Now I feel like over the years, you have done that less and less and less. Like I used to actually hit you up like, bro, please stop. Engaging with Twitter user I love battle rap 599922000, right? But I enjoy when he has those genuine interactions with battle rappers. I know Hitman said he loves spaces. Now, granted, Hitman is Hitman, and so he can have a lot more control over who has the mic.
He loves to hear himself talk too. I mean, like these guys love to hear themselves talk. Don't get it twisted, they do. The Verbs, the Surfs, the Hitmans, like, and they're superstars in battle rap, you know, but they love to hear themselves talk, you know? And I think DNA is not one of those guys, you know? Like, and DNA could be.
Yeah, because DNA, I mean, I feel like DNA is one of those people who are very knowledgeable about, I mean, obviously, right? But the inner workings of battle rap, the ability to judge material, judge content, and do it in an unbiased fashion, right? DNA has a lot of people that he's cool with, but I feel like for the most part, if it's not Clips or Goods or some of those New York rappers who he's really tight with, Shine probably at one time, right? I feel like even with those guys though, because I don't want to sell him short on that. I do feel like DNA still calls it down the line, even with those particular battlers. He just might not take the same tone that I might take or that some other battler might take when they're assessing maybe a lackluster Clips performance, right? So again, I respect that. I agree with that. Let's ask this last question, and we can jump into the URL stuff and then get to the basketball. If you are a fan, so like Tati, right? Tati is someone who, granted, she is involved with the league. She works with the league. I shout to Cola. Cola is a super fan who became a blogger who has covered this stuff, right? Covers battle rap. I don't want to say for a living, but he has covered battle rap and battle rap events. If you are a fan who really enjoys the content, who really enjoys breaking down the battles and talking about it, is there a way for a fan to get into spaces to cultivate a following around themselves that doesn't end up in a negative space or in a negative way?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but I mean, so like, here's the thing: is like, I think that there's like, so she's got, and I don't mean to use her. I don't really know her from anything. I don't know Tea with Tati or whatever. Okay, cool. You got your little headline segment. This is, it's Tea with Tati or whatever. That's cool. Is it a show, or is it just you talking and getting other people to come in here and talk? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad if a fan is like, yo, I want to cover, sports. I want to cover battle rap. Like, one day Cole DeRoos popped up and was like, yo, I'm going to cover the Chiefs. I'm a fan of the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to talk about this Super Bowl, turn my camera on and cover the Chiefs. Right. And now look at what he does. You know what I mean? And he's an asset. He's a highly regarded, media member that covers the Chiefs, and he does a great job of it, But what he does is he covers the Chiefs. He uses a little bit of his football knowledge or whatever. For the most part, he reports the news, and he does it in a creative way, And so it's like, if a fan wants to jump in spaces and have their show or whatever, like Tea with Tati hour. Okay, first hour we're gonna talk about this battle. Second hour we're gonna break down this. Like create something that don't just get in there and just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk. I'm gonna pull everybody up. Everybody come in here. We're gonna do this, that, and that. Then it just becomes like, all right, what are you here for? Like. So I think there's a way that you can kind of create that show, create that whatever podcast, whatever, and genuinely get the followings. But and then like DNA says, like, yo, like guys gotta. I don't do a whole lot of interviews because I just stay busy. I'm always writing, like I'll do them for 3 Letterman. I'll do them after the battles. My mama can tell you she's messaged me a few times because she watches a lot of people's interviews, like she watches a lot of media, and it's like, hey, you should go on, this guy's channel or go on that guy's channel. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I don't mind, but like, I don't want to just give my accessibility and presence to just anybody with a camera, and yes, I think that, but I think there's a way to cultivate a show, to create a thing, and to just genuinely have people want to come listen to your show, Oh, pull up a guest here. Oh, pull up a guest here. Not like, 40 people that are, speakers, and now we're, I mean, no, that's just, that's silly.
Yeah, I mean, so shout out to this, professionalism. I think if you have not gone to school for that kind of thing, it's hard. You're basically kind of flying by the seat of your pants. And it makes it tough to know what the professional standard is. I will say that shout out to Tati. I just really recently started following her. I jump into her spaces from time to time. She's normally online while I'm at work. So, I'll jump in if I'm taking a break from a podcast or whatever, and I'll listen for a few minutes. And if it's something that I find to be interesting, I'll tune in. If not, I won't. I do think from a battle rap standpoint, you are not a person who needs promotion in that way, right? So like, you don't have to jump in spaces if you don't want to. But I do think if you are an up and comer, I've seen Capo do it. Starting spaces as a battler is a good thing. And again, I want to salute Tati. Cola has gotten himself in some hot water from time to time because Cola can be a little hot-headed, but what he did with spaces, super dope. What Frank White was doing, where he was interviewing people within the spaces. And first up, prayers up for Frank White. He's having some health issues. I saw that across my timeline, so hopefully things will work out well for him. But like he has had some prominent people, battlers, and I want to say there was a big interview from someone who was outside the culture that I can't remember who it is or what it was, but I think there are ways for fans to interact with the culture, to build a following, and to have I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but to have a positive relationship with artists, right? Where it doesn't have to be antagonistic. It doesn't have to be, you know, a negative thing. So shout out to all those people with spaces. Shout out to the spaces. I feel like there have been a lot of dope things. Last thing I'll say is battle rap is this really small community, and those spaces are communal spaces where it allows people to, who may not be the loudest, who may not have the loudest, biggest voices, to come up and voice their opinion in a communal space. I feel like Jay Black does a really good job with that when he does executive spaces. LTBR, when they have the I forget what they call it, but it's like the roulette, where it's just like they'll call if you want to come in after an event and talk about who you think won or lost the battle, or your favorite performances.
I listened to one of those. Was that after? What was that after? It was good though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I feel like they haven't done one in a while, at least not to my memory. Maybe I missed them, but radio roulette, where they just you come in, you raise your hand, ask to be speak, and they let you in. So again, shout out to all the blogs, the leagues. I feel like TBL did a really great job of utilizing spaces in the lead up to Apollo, right? So again, shout out to all the leagues, the battlers, the fans who put on these spaces. Man, last thing I'll say this on my way out, we could talk about URL. You got to stop lying though in them spaces. And I say that to you battlers. Fans are going to be biased for their favorites. They're going to say that their favorites won a battle that they didn't necessarily win. But I done heard some blatant, outright lies in these spaces from you battlers. Yeah, you versus so-and-so. How did it go? Oh, yeah, I smoked them. No, you did not. It was the opposite of smoking. It was actually you lost, right? Or it was debatables become clear wins become bodies. Losses become debatables. Like, it's just the sliding scale of lying. Like, that is my one point of contention with spaces with you battle rappers. Y'all get in there and get to just cutting up and saying y'all undefeated, y'all Cassidy 3,000 and 0 and all this stuff. Cut that out. Respectfully. If you took an L, you took an L. Everybody loses. Nobody, not even Cassidy, nobody has gone through a battle rap career undefeated, even if you feel like you are. You know, that's all I'm saying.
They get in there and they just. And it's always a change of tone from like after the battle or whatever, like in the spaces, like, oh, they smoked that person. And it's like, wait, what?
Listen, the battle rapper shall remain nameless, but this was during the era of when Surf was in spaces every day. This is where like, if you could have gotten $5 every time your name was either the title of a space or whether you were brought up in the space, you probably could retire. You could have retired from your job if during that era. And like, there was a battle rapper and I was like, you versus A-Ward. You battle A-Ward, right? And I was like, yeah, I battle A-Ward. What happened? What happened in that battle? Did you win? Oh, I smoked him. And I went, sir, what, sir, no, you did not smoke him. I'm sorry, respectfully. And it wasn't Yogi.
Free both of them, by the way. Free both of them. Free both of them.
You must have been listening to that space that particular day, or either I told you about it. But yes, free him for sure. Good dude though. Good dude for sure. Anyway, man, let us know what y'all think about spaces, man. Also on the channel, we have I thought was a really dope conversation about battle rap media and the talent called The Fault in Our Stars of Media. Go check that out because I thought that was a really good conversation. Now, let's get in the last bit of battle rap and we get into this NBA. URL is finally back outside. URL is finally spending time with us, folks. They got an event coming up this weekend, Outside for 6 battles, a really dope card on paper. Let's run through that real quick, give predictions. First up, Loso, who is embarking on one of the most grueling schedules I have ever seen in battle rap history. He is taking on Hansel. Hansel is one of my favorites from the new artists coming out, from the new class. I mean, obviously, I feel like maybe I should just give my opinion because we know how which side you rocking with on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Hansel's tough. He's tough. He's a tough battle. You know what I mean? Like, not for a Loso that is locked in like that. To me, that's not a tough. You know what I mean? And so, it's going to come down to, is Loso locked in like he was versus J2? If so, Loso's going to win. He's going to win clear. He's one of the most dangerous battlers in the world when he's locked in. If Loso's in there thinking about this gauntlet of all these battles he's got, because the next week he's got Marv One, and the next week he's got Showstopper and the first opponent in the tournament back-to-back days. So Saturday, Sunday, and then I think the next week he's got. So, we'll see. But I mean, yeah, I'm going with Loso.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the home team. I'm gonna roll with Loso, but Loso, listen, I mean, to me, of your at least at announced battles where you know who your opponent is. I don't know if they've announced the opponents for the tournament. This is probably the most dangerous one you have. It's a young man who wants to prove a point. He's been calling out vets. At one point, he's supposed to battle Saga. For whatever reasons, that battle did not happen. So he's been, yep, he's been trying to get at the horseman for a minute. And he's finally got one of y'all lined up. So do not sleep on this young man. You got to bring, like you said, he's got to bring somewhere between his J2 and danger zone performance. If you can be somewhere meet in the middle, you got a good chance of winning. If you hit the J2 marks, you have a great chance of winning. Don't sleep on this young man, though. He is very, very good. So I got Loso. Got another vote for Loso in the chat. So let's jump to this next one. T-Top versus J2. Speaking of J2, how you feel about this one?
Yeah. I got T-Top until I see J2 like rise to the occasion and beat somebody that like a top tier guy. I'm just gonna continue to take the opponents. I know that there was a big conversation the week after he lost to Loso about the angle getting old and everything like that, and maybe they're just trying to like make people not want to hear it. But if it's good, it's always gonna get reaction. You know what I mean? And I'm totally okay with it. I could see T-Top coming in there with like the same angle and not being as good, like with it. And then if he's using that same angle and not as good with it, it's a very good possibility that J2 wins that battle. Because the thing about it is, if you're not good, you're gonna get it's gonna be like, yo, just play it out, Yeah, I'm taking T-Top though. I'm taking T-Top 2-1 edge until I see J2, get up there and handle business, against the top tier guys.
I'm gonna take J2 in this one. Ironically enough, or maybe not ironically is the wrong word, but J2 would have beat a few people on that Apollo card with this performance. It's just that Loso just had a dominating performance. J2's first round was really good. And then Loso just said, okay, I see your round and I raise you, right? I don't think that T-Top I think T-Top is going to be prepared, right? I think he's going to have some humor. He's going to have a lot of humor in there, but I don't think he's going to have the punches or the performance that Loso had against J2. And so I think J2 is going to come to prove a point. And I think he's going to get his I don't want to say first win against the top tier because I don't know his career like that. So, because I feel like he battled JC and was really good, but I don't remember if he won that battle or not. But either way, I got J2 in this one. I think J2 surprises some people and he gets the dub because, again, his Loso material was good. It's just Loso was just better and on point. And I agree with you. Great jokes don't become played out until they're no longer funny, right? If you can't deliver the material well, if you can't creatively come up with the material, then that angle doesn't work. But we rewatch our favorite TV shows because the content ages well and because it is really good. Loso's material was a little heavy-handed by the third round, a little bit, but it was still good. If it wasn't good, people wouldn't have reacted. So I do think J2 gets the W in that battle. All right, one of my favorites on this card, She Happens versus Chef Trez.
That's such a good battle. It's a battle of like the loud voice, still small voice. Like this gonna be, she is definitely gonna have the projection of a Trez. I assume the event's gonna be like in that URL Studios in that small room type thing. So it's really not gonna matter too much. I'm going to go with She Happens. I'm gonna go with She Happens, and I'm gonna take him 2-1. I think Trez, man, he's always really good. And I can see him being really good, but I think Sheed is kind of like ready for one of them years. He went ahead and beat XL. Now he's got Trez, but also Sheed Happens battles Quest McCody the next week. So he's got one of those schedules as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, and shout out to Sheed, man. He was really good versus XL. Like you said, I felt like he won that battle. Man, that Jay battle to me is a debatable. They were both very good in that battle. It took place earlier at like January this year. That might have been outside 3. Don't quote me on that. But you know, I'm going to go with she as well. I think the projection will make a difference, even in a small room setting. Just the ability to have your voice carry. The performance from she is also going to be on 10 as well. So I got she winning that battle, man. His charisma, his energy, his ability to kind of take you on a little bit of a journey and then land the plane, if you will, I think is really good as well. And Chef is going to have the rebuttals. Chef is going to be punching back to back. I just think that the overall performance and energy from she will be enough to win the day in that particular battle. All right, Av versus Wusa.
You know, I haven't really watched much of. I've not watched much of Wusa.
Likewise. So I'll say I'm going to pick Av to win, but I am rooting for Wusa. I've actually heard more of Wusa's music than I actually have Wusa battles, which part himself on that. But he dropped a diss track towards Av that I thought was absolutely phenomenal. I thought it was.
Really, I need to check that out.
Bro, check it out. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I thought it was super dope. And I don't know if Av responded, but listen, if Av and Wusa wanted to have a little back and forth, you know, on I forget, like on beat, like if they want to do a round on beat, I would be here for that because Av is absolutely phenomenal on wax as well. But like I said, I'm gonna pick. Apparently, these are both young men who are either from Norfolk or from VA in particular, in general. So you're gonna have a VA on VA matchup. Like I said, I'm picking Av, but I'm rooting for Wusa because I want to see the young man whose music, again, I've heard like 2 or 3 tracks of his. I really rocked with him. And so I'm rooting for him personally to win this battle, sight unseen as a battle rapper. All right, got 2 more. Arsenal versus Fonz.
I don't think there's much like Fonz to me is just, I shouldn't say I don't think there's much Arsenal could do at Fonz because Arsenal is Arsenal, and sometimes he has a performance and I'm like, and he's gonna need one of those. That one time a year that you're just like, oh dang, there's all right, he's gonna need that. But you know, for the most part, you know, I think Fonz clearly wins the battle. Yeah.
So shout out to Fonz, our Arsenal. You know, I don't know if this is new or not, but Battle Rap Bum dropped a freestyle that Tay Rock did on a segment called Bars with Ars. And it was, you want to talk about phenomenal. I prefer Tay Rock the battle rapper to Tay Rock the musician personally, but this was flames, like a minute and like 45 seconds of really good rapping, in my opinion, over a dope beat. He went crazy. I retweeted it. Ars, I don't know if that's new or old. If it's old, pardon self for being late to the party on that. But if it's new, I need the link if you got more of those, because what Rock did there was phenomenal. That being said, I got Fonz, respectfully. Respectfully, Ars. Like you said, I just don't know what Ars we're going to get. Fonz is one of the best punchers in the game, and if you're not on your A game, then he's going to make you pay for that. And you know, I don't know how active Fonz has been this year. I don't remember him being on a bunch of cards unless it was something with his home league. But I think he's sitting on material and he's gonna be ready to show up and perform.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, main event time. We can get to this basketball real quick. So main event, Jada Nightwing versus Tay Rock, man. Super dope matchup on paper.
Love it. Yeah, I'm taking Tay Rock, man. I think that there's just a relentless to what he's gonna do. And I think Jada Nightwing is not a guy that I often see that rap, you know, every month. So, you know, one of the things I love about Jay is like he comes out every 4 or 5 months, and you're like, "Yo, this is refreshing," you know, like that accessibility that he doesn't have, you know. And so it's like coming off the Ill Will battle, you know, crazy performance, amazing performance against Ill Will. I think that, you know, like what are we, a month later? Yeah, about a month later. Yeah. I think there might be a little bit of a dip in that, even though he's battling Tay Rock, which should you know, motivate anybody. But yeah, I'm taking Tay Rock.
So I would love to know how much prep time did he have for this?
Yeah.
Did he know at the time that he was going to Battle Ill Will that this was happening, or did he just find out 2 weeks ago?
Probably,
to me,
probably 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
That makes a difference in who I pick. Like Rock can ride around in his sleep, right? Like he can ride around in his sleep, and he's going to perform it, and it's going to, for his core fans, are going to love it, and for people who may not be as big of fans, they're going to like it.
Jay, Knight, Wing, Mad, King, and Rock is gonna literally just every single one of those.
Yes, yes, there's that part to it as well. I'm gonna pick Jay though. I think this isn't
Jay Uso somebody?
Jay Uso, yeah,
is that a wrestler? There's
wrestler.
Jay Uso bar. Then Rock is definitely gonna have a Jay Uso bar.
I mean, I would think that Jay will have the Jay Uso bar since Jay is the world heavyweight champion right now. Shout out to the day ones. Yeah, he beat Gunther for the belt at WrestleMania. It made quick little wrestling side.
Gunther from Friends?
No, not Gunther from
RIP
Friends.
actually. And he passed away, right?
I think he is. I think he did die. So RIP. But quick wrestling note, warmed my heart to see Jay. I've been rooting for him since I got back into wrestling, and to see him be the champ and have his first singles title, I felt like I won that night at WrestleMania. But I'm going to go Jay, man. I'm going to, when we talk about Cody, his resume, which I don't know, hopefully I got them, but I mean, he had the phenomenal battle with Sheed, like I said, at the beginning of the year. Battle of the year with Ill Will, in my opinion, at this point of the year, I might have Ill Will winning that battle, but to me, that's one of those battles where there are no losers in my eyes. And now you have the reigning Cody on URL as the main event. A phenomenal performance here, and coming into this second quarter, you might have to look at Jay the Nightwing as your leader in the final year of Cody for 2025, man. So definitely a battle that I'm looking forward to, a card that I'm looking forward to. Y'all tap in, let us know what y'all think. Who y'all got as winners? Battle of the night, the champion of the night, if you will. Shout out to that when that used to happen back in the day. Shout out to URL too, man. They've been really quiet this year.
Really like that card.
I really enjoyed that card too. So, and hopefully, I'm hoping that Jay wins, or at least puts on a good performance that allows him to maybe grace another Gnome stage. I think he was in Gnome for the finals of Ultimate Madness. Won the Ultimate Madness tournament against Fonz, by the way, because I think Fonz ended up winning that. So hopefully he gets another. I disagree with this comment. Jay can be boring sometimes. I disagree with that. I mean,
his delivery and everything. Like if he's not hitting, then it's dry. You know what I mean?
Yes, but that hasn't happened in a while. Like I think again. Oh, Real Deal. I think he took on Real Deal this year, right? Or was that late last year?
I don't think that was this year. I think it was last year.
Okay, but again, he got into a multi-pocket that was unbelievable. I don't know what round it was, but
third round against Ill Will?
No. That one was fire too. But against Real Deal. It might have been his third, because I feel like his second was the Pat Stay homage. So I think in his third, he got into a rapidy-rap multi-pocket that was just unbelievable. Back to back. That's enough of battle rap though, man. We've covered spaces, we've covered URL, we've talked about the trenches. Let's talk a little bit about this basketball and get up out of here and watch the only game on the docket for tonight. Thank you, Jesus, because that means I don't have to stay up late. Even though I'm off work tomorrow, I don't have to stay up late to watch basketball. Man, what a run it has been for the NBA. Great playoff games back to back. Before we talk about some of the games that have passed, I want to take a quick rewind. Last Sunday, Golden State beats Houston, eliminates Houston, the young Houston Rockets, from the playoffs. I wanted to ask you this question because I have my thoughts. If you are the Rockets, do you keep this core intact? When you look at what Boston has done with their young core, look at what OKC is doing right now with their young core. Is this the team that you say, let's give these guys a few years to figure it out, and potentially they could be the OKC in the West, or compete with OKC in the Western Conference? Or do you look to ship out some of those young guns? And if so, which ones would be the ones that you would ship out?
Yeah, I'm shipping out. I'm shipping out Jabari Smith Jr. I'm shipping out probably I don't know if anybody wants that contract. That didn't Jalen Green sign like $200 million or something like that? I thought Jalen Green didn't he sign a contract?
I don't know. I don't think he's extension eligible yet. I think he's still on his rookie
Agreed
deal.
to 3-year, $106 million. That was last year.
Nah.
October 21st, 2024. Jalen Green agrees to 3-year, $106 million extension.
Yeah. I mean, bro, that's cheap. When you think about what these dudes is getting paid.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like he's not that good. Like,
well, so I want to rebut that statement. He is really, he's good in the regular season. This was his first playoff experience. That did not go well, right? But I think he was the leading scorer for the Rockets this year, and I think he averaged like 19 a game.
Yeah.
Wow, so he's got their postseason stats, and that's not what I want to see because that's not good for him at all. But yeah, Jalen Green looks like 21 points per game. Yeah, 21 points per game. So he led them in scoring at 21 points per game. So regular season, he was part of the reason why they got that 2 seed. Postseason, it wasn't as good.
But yeah, no, I'm saying, bro, you can still cultivate that core and bring in like KD. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's a situation like with you can still have Amen. You can still keep Şengün, who's younger. You can still keep probably the veteran Van Vliet. I think that you can kind of like, but I mean, Reed Shepherd, Jabari Smith Jr., like some of these other guys, like to me are definitely on the block. Expendable. Yeah.
Listen. I said it last time we talked on the show, and I'm gonna say it again. Amen Thompson ain't gonna be a Rocket. If I'm sending you KD, you're coming up off of Amen. I don't want Jalen. Respectfully, I already got Devin Booker. I already got Bradley Beal. I don't need Jalen Green, but I need Amen Thompson on my squad if I'm sending you KD. I'm kind of torn about this. Like, part of me says yes, because to me the key for the Rockets next year is Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd is a phenomenal athlete. He tested great at the combine, 40-inch vert. He's super quick. He can shoot. He has good court vision. If he can become at best or at worst a sixth man for them next year, who becomes the primary backup for Fred VanVleet, I think that you have a super dangerous team. And in crunch time, you have another ball handler you can put on the court who can get his own shot. And so if you have, excuse me, as ball handlers, if you have Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson as 3 guys who can, one, push the pace, who can handle the ball and make something happen in a pick and roll situation, that's a great group to go with Şengün. I would try to keep the core together, but trade Jalen Green for some type of veteran, though. That's not KD, because you're not, again,
like a Chris Middleton. Is he done?
Too old. Yeah, he's done. Like, I don't know who's out there in free agency, because again, with so many players,
they need another big. I mean, they had what's his name, Steven Adams, right? They had him in there.
If they can bring him back, that would be great, because Steven Adams.
They need like a Miles Turner.
I don't think they need a Miles Turner. I think they need just one more guy who can get his own shot. Like, I just think that my issue with Şengün is that, like, I feel like Draymond. I'll use myself as an example. As a young man, I always fashioned myself as a shooter, not a big man. But because I was tall, I was forced to play in the post. And so when I actually had to play against someone who could defend the post, trying to back someone down who I can't move well was not fun for me. And it forced me to settle for shots. And I felt like Şengün a lot against the Warriors. He couldn't move Draymond the way he wanted to. And so it was just like, okay, I'm gonna back against you 3 times, and now I'm gonna flail a hook shot because I'm done. I can't do anything else with you. I don't have a second move. Maybe he gets stronger. Maybe he gets a little bit more wiser on how to move on the block, but he didn't impress me in the playoffs either. Him and Jalen Green, I would look to move on from him. That's personally, but I would try to keep the rest of that core together. If I can get somehow finagle Kevin Durant without giving up Amen Thompson, though, that's a huge win, because they also need 3-point shooting. And that's where, again, the development of Reed Shepherd becomes imperative, that he becomes a rotational player for them next year. Because that's another shooter, another ball handler. And to me, that just makes them more dangerous if they have him. All right, man.
Because
So
I've
let's
been
jump
liking watching what's his name, Max Strus. That dude can hoop, man.
He can shoot, man. He can
He
shoot
can
his butt
shoot.
off.
Yeah, he can.
Woo wee. Hold on. I might not have to watch Warriors and Minnesota
they're
right
getting
now.
waxed right now.
Yeah, they getting smoked. But let's talk last night, man. Last night, one of the games, super competitive, two crazy games back to back. Knicks, Celtics. Your response to what happened in these first two games from the Celtics?
I mean, they're playing like they just thought things were going to be handed to them, like that that they just had, all they had to do was win one game and they were going to present the Eastern Conference in the finals, like it's kind of wild. And like the Knicks on the flip side, who are normally going to be the team that lets you down, are like taking advantage of every opportunity, and, we talked a little bit about it in the last series and Cats hitting fadeaways behind the backboard, and like they're getting guys that just step up and hit big shots and do things. It's really it seems like it's about who wants it more. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's like super cliche, but it goes for like the Pacers game and the Pacers Cavs series and the Knicks Celtics series. It's like the Knicks and the Pacers both look like they're like, we're so sick of losing in the first two rounds of the playoffs. Like that's how they're playing. Like, yo, it stops this year. And so yeah, whereas the Celtics are just kind of to be the best team in the league all year long and to lose the first two games at home in the playoffs is wild.
Man, I had an argument on the Brains and Bars podcast page with the guy the year the Warriors beat the Celtics in the finals about, is Jason Tatum a superstar?
Remember that, yeah.
And I don't know what to equate his career to. Jason Tatum should be, in my estimation, he should be beyond these performances he's having right now. Where he shoot, and it's not just him, it's the entire team. Like the Celtics have taken analytics to its final stage, right? They have taken it to its final conclusion. I want to take a quick segue here to talk about how we got to this point, right? So a lot of people think that the Warriors are the people who ruin basketball, right? They credit them as ruining the sport, and there is some truth to it, but it's not what people think. It's not the fact that people thought, well, anybody can shoot like Steph and Clay. The reason that the Warriors ruin basketball is because they basically turn basketball into a math problem. And what I mean by that is when that 2016 Western Conference Finals, when they come back from 3-1 against Oklahoma City, if you go look at the stats from that series, it's basically a dead heat. It's the Thunder outscored them. The rebounds were similar. The assists were similar. Free throw percentage, advanced stats are all the same except for one area: 3-point makes, 3-point shooting percentage. The Thunder outshot them well enough from three that was the difference in the series. And so Daryl Morey, in my estimation, saw that and said, so basically you're telling me if I can make more threes than you, I can win. And to me, that is what you're seeing the end game of that thought process, where the Celtics say, this is a math problem. We're going to take and make so many threes that it will not matter what you do on offense, because that is what happened in 2016.
Yeah.
The Warriors made so many threes, more threes than Oklahoma City, that it did not matter what happened in games 5 through 7. And so, I don't know if it was the group chat we're in, but I posted in one of them, like, this is a fireable offense to shoot 100 threes in 2 games and only make 25, and to blow 2 20-point leads in part because you insist on shooting so many threes is a fireable offense, except that's your organizational ethos. You would have to get rid of the entire front office and coaching staff to rewire things. And so I've seen people say, well, why won't Mazzulla call a different play, run something to get an easy basket? Because for them, the 3-point shot is the easy basket. That's how they view things. And so to be down 2-0 when you were up 20, and they were up
20 in both games?
In both games. I stopped watching. So me and my dad were talking yesterday, and I wasn't watching the game. And I got an alert on my phone that said, the Knicks have taken the lead. And I went, excuse me? They done what? Because I thought the game was over. I thought they for sure had figured it out. And I think I did post in the group about the stats from that when they were up 20 through the rest of the game, right? And I mean, like, here are the numbers. When it was 73-53 with about 3 minutes left in the third quarter, from that point on, Boston went 3 from 15 from three-point land. They went 2 for 10 in the fourth quarter. New York was just slightly better. They went 5 from 13 after going down from 20, and they went 3 for 10 in the fourth quarter. And so the difference in the game is New York was getting easy 2-point not I want to say easy 2-point baskets, but they were simply scoring from 2.
Yeah.
And Boston refused to do anything basically but take the 3. And there are stretches where I charted it where they missed 4 3-point shots in a row, 4 or 5 in a row. To their credit, at the end of the game, they took 5 2-point shots. They only made 1. That was a Tatum dunk that gave them the lead briefly at the end of the game. So, I mean, I just don't know how I don't know. Do you think they can beat Boston 4 times in 5 games?
Do I think the Knicks?
I'm sorry. Can they beat New York? I'm sorry. Can Boston beat New York 4 times in 5 games?
Yeah. I mean, they're the best team. You know, they're the best team in the NBA regular season. I think them in Oklahoma City. You know, like if things start clicking, you know. Now, I'll say this much: as long as they get one with the Knicks, you know, even if it's 3-1, I think they could come back get the, you know, get the, well, I guess it would be what? So they're in Boston, then they go to New York, and they come back to Boston,
back to New York, and then back to Boston for Game 7.
Yeah, you know,
potentially, I think they can still win 4 straight.
Yeah, I think so. I think they can. Will they? I don't know, man. It's tough. You know, you basically got 3 of the next 5 games, right, at New York, and all they got to do is win 2.
To me, Game 3 is must win for New York, not for Boston. I think if you go up 3-0, I think you'll win. But I think they need to have a game for sure where they don't go down by 20. The Garden is going to be a madhouse. At a certain point, I posted again. It's not
right?
$800 is the cheapest at the point that I posted that tweet in the group. $800 was the cheapest get in. The most expensive ticket was $54,000. I'm assuming that's a floor seat because if it's not, you know, I would probably fine you just to slap you for trying to sell me a ticket that's not a floor seat for $54,000. But that place is going to be such a madhouse that I think it's a major letdown, especially if they get blown out because they've already been down big in 2 games. And to me, the belief of the fan base, and granted, Knicks fans want to talk about delusional, but to me, the belief of the fan base drops and the belief in the Knicks' ability to win the series, I think, drops if they get blown out. But if they win, then yeah, I think they'll close them out in 6. At no worse than 6. I don't think it goes 7.
Yeah, they win Game 3. I think it's a wrap. Yeah.
You think it's over for the Cavs?
Yeah, I think it's over for the Cavs. Yeah, I think that they're too injured. You know what I mean? I don't think Darius Garland's coming back anytime soon. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he is. I don't know what's going on with Mobley and Hunter. Now, granted, like if they get Mobley and Hunter, the fact that those 3 were out, you know what I mean, and they still should have won that game. You know, now granted, Donovan Mitchell had to go for 47. You know, and you know he needed some help, but but yeah, if they can't get healthy, if those 3 guys are not going to be back, you know, for the rest I mean, I don't know what the case is for the other 2, but yeah, I think it's over for the Cavs.
Yeah, and I hate that for them because it was such a promising season, and I do think if healthy, well, one, if they just have one of Mobley or Hunter, I think they win that game.
Yeah,
they were up. I mean. You were up 7 with like 40 seconds left, man. Like I just don't. And
don't we want Knicks Pacers though?
I don't. To me, the basketball has been so good. I don't think it matters right now.
Yeah.
Like I think the across both East and West, these games have been so good. Like I don't. Knicks Pacers from a nostalgia standpoint, I think makes sense. It's going to be the final series on TNT. They got the Eastern Conference this year. So I think having those two teams with their history, you're probably going to have Reggie Miller be in the building like he was last year.
Spike Lee will be there.
Spike Lee will be there. So from a storyline standpoint, yes, that's what you want. But to me, it does not matter who you get. If it's Boston Pacers, they had a nice little back and forth last year. If it's Boston, Cleveland, obviously you got the king of the hill versus the up and comers. I'm going to say that Cleveland wins game 3 though. But shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. Like, obviously, he's a very irritating guy, and that's why he was voted the most overrated. But the guy can ball, man. The guy,
he's nice.
This year, he's 10 of 11 on shots to tie or go ahead in crunch time. So, I mean, and the fact that he got those 2-3, that 3 off to win that game, unbelievable.
Like I said, wanting it more, bro. Just getting the offensive rebound, like it's just, yeah.
And as we close out, speak of wanting it more, shout out to OKC, who lost the game that they shouldn't have, and said,
"That's what the Boston game was supposed to look like with the Knicks. That's what it was supposed to look like." Yep. All right. Cool. You got your little one. Watch this. This is why we are who we are. This is why you are who you are.
I just don't understand, for a team that is as battle tested as Boston, why they're still having these moments. It baffles me, because normally when especially once you've won a championship. Once you've won a championship, like all those, that narrative is, or at least your play is supposed to be of one of a champion. That's why Golden State beat Houston, because they're the vet. We're the team with the championship.
Going into game 7, and that's why I think if Boston does get it to game 7, I think that same feel should kick in, like the same as what you got out of the Warriors in game 7 against the Rockets.
Yeah. So, I mean, and if they got any championship medal about them, it's got to kick in now. Because like you said, if they lose game, they need to sweep. They can't come out of New York going back to Boston down 3-1.
Yeah.
All right, man. Last thing, we can get out of here, bro. Mm-hmm. I told the mixtress, which I don't know their gender, but I told them I would ask this question. I'd like to see a freestyle rebuttal type tournament. I think A-Ward would win it. Would you be down to be a part of a tournament that was freestyle related, no written at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that would be fun. I think I don't know what that looks like. If it's rebuttal, like that's freestyle rebuttal. If it's on beat or if it's a cappella, whatever. But yeah, I think I would always enjoy doing something like that.
All right, that's what's up. Last thing, do you know who this person is?
Looks like Roy.
That is definitely not Roy.
Nope.
That man might be of Asian descent.
Yeah, Magalagan Trun, whatever. Hey, man, thanks for joining, bro. And one day we'll have another show where we send out the links and bring people up. We'll probably do that here in a few months or something. Maybe start football, NFL.
We love to do that. But appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Once again, I didn't do the intro, so I'll do it now. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, wherever you get the good podcasts. Give us 5 stars, leave a review. You can check us out here on Twitter at Brains and Bars. Same thing for the socials. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brains and Bars. Leave us a comment, man. Holler at us, and we'll holler back, man. Tell a friend, it's them boys again. And until next time, I'm not going to do the intro tonight, or the outro, the full outro, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in. It's a Black and White Thing feature A1 and A-Ward. Y'all have a good night, man. I'll holler at y'all next week.
Those is knuckleheads.